All right, so we are on page Kuf Nun Vav, the very last line. And we are in the middle of discussing the principle of Kabbalah Semach Shemayim. The Rebbe starts off. The principle that we're discussing in a general level is in from Hagdomas Nasim and Mishnah. And then the Rebbe brings down what it says in Mishnah, in Gemara, that Shema precedes Vayim Shemeya. And the Gemara says the reason for that is because Shema represents Kabbalah Semach Shemayim, and Vayim Shemeya it represents Kabbalah Say Mitzvahs. Before there's Kabbalah Say Mitzvahs, there has to be Kabbalah Say Mach Shemayim first. And this is what we're discussing. What's the significance of that? In a very pointed way, which is the principle that's expressed in the words that Nasa comes before Nishma. How can it be Nasa before Nishma? And this we already discussed. And the answer is, in general, is that this Nasa is not a response to a command. This Nasa is a reflection of the relationship that one has, the commitment that one has to the Balarot. That he's completely self-nullified. He represents the Rosh of the Balarot, without any alibi, without any sidestep. Now the last line is this is really a quality that needs to be understood. Clearly, it's a very subtle, very high level, as the Shoma element, but it's available to every Yid, and to express it in words and explain it is really challenging. So the last line on page Kuf Nun Vav. Hine be'emes. Hine behold be'emes, in real truth, ho koyach ne'alam. It is really a concealed, a subtle koyach, a subsurface koyach. Maybe that's a proper word. Koyach ne'alam, a subsurface koyach.
The sub what?
Surface, subsurface. If this is a subsurface koyach, so how can you speak in terms of a mitzvah, what you're doing? It's subsurface. It happens beneath the surface, beneath consciousness. So the Rebbe explains, Be'emes, in real truth, in other words, a real capability behind this is subsurface. Is a koyach ne'alam, is something which is granted, given to a Yid, Numayla, which is the ha'ora of Ak in every Yid. Ha'ora of Ak is a makif. Makif is not something that one can acquire by his own seichel, because makif, the seichel does not grasp the principles of makif. So therefore, if you have this makif element, this is a gift Numayla. And if it's a gift Numayla, means that you get it, what we call today subconsciously. Therefore, this koyach itself is a koyach ne'alam. Why then do we say that Shema Yisrael, which is in Shema listen, which means in Kabbalah say Mach Shemayim, how do you say Kabbalah say Mach Shemayim, something that is a koyach ne'alam, which is a subsurface koyach? So the Rebbe explains. Be'emes, in real truth, hu koyach ne'alam. It is not a koyach that one develops by his seichel and by his focus and understanding. However, yet still, even though it is a koyach ne'elam, still, despite the fact that it's a koyach ne'elam, in this koyach ne'elam, yesh bozeh rotzei. In this koyach ne'elam, there is the union of rotzei. In other words, it is not a koyach ne'elam to the extent that one is totally unaware and uninvolved in its process. The koyach itself, be'emes, is a koyach ne'elam. Again, the word be'emes, we already discussed several times. Be'emes means in truth, meaning despite the fact that there is human effort involved, the real source of the success is not his effort. His effort is there, and it serves only to identify that which is inherently there. His effort is not what enables it and what brings it out, what creates it. Nonetheless, we are talking about Kabbalah Soimach Shemayim, which is a human effort. So the Rebbe says, in real truth, the koyach, the ability, that which enables us is a koyach nela. Nonetheless, we speak in terms of Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, Kabbalah Soimach. But yet still, this koyach nela has an element that is also part of Avodas Hashem. Arei yesh bozeh rotzin, behold, in this koyach ne'elam there is an element of rotzin. The principle of rotzin, I attempted many times, and still attempting to allow us to focus to identify it, at least in our remote intelligence. What is rotzin mean? We are not talking about rotzin to want something. I want something because I'm lacking something. That rotzin is the response to my lack. Here we're talking about koyach ne'elam. Within this koyach ne'elam there is an element of rotzin. Can we get a little more air?
Open the door.
Maybe open the door. Thank you, Yitzchak.
What was that last point?
Even though it's a koyach ne'elam, there's an element of rotzin. I said, rotzin, I want. Normally, when they say I want, the want is a response to a lack, something that I'm missing. I want to eat. Why do you want to eat? Because I'm hungry. I don't want to eat because I want to eat.
We usually attribute ratzon a deeper sense than.
Well, that's what I'm trying to point out. Yesh bozeh rotzin. In this koyach ne'elam, there is an element of rotzin. Even though it's a koyach ne'elam, it's a subsurface koyach.
Is ratzon to? Isn't ratzon as well subsurface, subconscious?
But
is ratzon itself not also subconscious?
rotzin, this rotzin is a subsurface. But that's what it means. That's what I'm saying. We'll come to it. First, understand what it means. If it's a koyach ne'elam, what's mikomokim yesh bozeh rotzin? If it's a koyach ne'elam, how do you say that yesh bozeh rotzin? The rotzin has no effect on it. It's a koyach ne'elam. Nonetheless, in this koyach nelam, there is an element of rotzen. What is this rotzen that we're referring to over here? What is this element of rotzen that exists within the koyach nelam? I'm stopping for a second always to give us a chance to focus in on our own. What is rotzen function? What does rotzen do within a koyach nelam? Rotzen is a functioning koyach. How do you say that in this koyach nelam there is a koyach, there is rotzen? And the Rebbe clearly identifies this dilemma. However, and I want to point out the expression, the lotion in the mind. There is therein rotzen. He does not say that it comes alidei rotzen. It comes as a result of rotzen. It says mekom hakim hareyesh bozer rotzen. Therein there's rotzen. It's a koyach nelam, but therein, in this koyach nelam, as it is a koyach nelam, therein there's a rotzen. In other words, it is not the rotzen that brings forth this koyach. The koyach remains koyach nelam, but therein there's rotzen. What is this rotzen allude to? It's not that this rotzen brings out the koyach, but there is in this koyach nelam, at the nelam stage there is yesh bozer rotzen. So this rotzen is a very deep, and they say always, rotzen is really a koyach makifi. It is not a koyach, this rotzen is not one that has surfaced as a result of contemplation. What do I need? What am I missing? Yesh bozer, but therein, in this koyach nelam, there is a rotzen. What is the significance of that rotzen? Well, let's end and say, what's the significance of rotzen that's a koyach nelam? The significance of this rotzen is again, we resort to a mashal. We always say that sight is an extremely subtle koyach. There is no activity involved. You open your eyes and there is light and you see automatically. You see what there is to see. You see not what you're looking to see. You see what there is to see. Effortless. Despite the fact that it's effortless, there is an element of personal involvement in sight. So that there's a profound difference between a sighting person, a sightless person. A sightless person, even though sighting is effortless, doesn't involve the person. A sightless person is lacking, is missing something very profound. He's missing an orientation that he would have had if he had sight. Even though sight is automatic, it doesn't come through via orientation. Using this example of sight, as we point out all the time, initially the world was created and it was dark. And then Hashem said, let there be light. In other words, light was an add-on to the basic presence of world. There could be world experience without sight. Yet sight is of tremendous significance within this world. What is it that the Rebbe said, let there be light? What for? You can get around, I said many times, you can get around by touch. Sight is in fact an element which is higher than the basic definition of world. Sight is a divine addition to the world. What is this divine addition? How is it identified? The difference between touch and sight is touch comes to you by virtue of the fact that it affects you. You touch it, you feel it in your hand. It's something which affects you, that's how you know it. So you don't know it because of its own truth. You know it because it affects you. But in the creation, even though it's a worldly creation, but it was created by God. The world has, so to speak, a subset of godliness. It's a real presence. But it is limited, that it is in real presence, you can only know it by its own criteria, its own parameters, by touch. A godly element is not limited to touch. It's a truth that is omnipresent, inside. It cannot but be. Sight has brought to the world a divine quality. This physical world, at the level of sight, you cannot avoid but see it. Not like touch, that is really of a worldly quality. Sight is of a divine quality. This divine quality is an add-on that the Rebbe said, let there be light. He gave a divine quality into the world. This sight, which is effortless, and I said, it is not an absolute necessity in order to orient yourself in the world. But sight is of such enormous significance to the human being. Even though it comes automatic, it comes effortlessly, there is a rotzing, there is a will, there is a significance, there's an experience in sight. It's a profound experience in sight, even though it's effortless. It's not like when you learn something and you have accomplished, you broke through a barrier, and now you feel the accomplishment. So it doesn't have that process at all. It's not like you climb a mountain and you made it to the peak. Sight is automatic, it's effortless. And yet, there's a phenomenal rotzing, phenomenal experience in sight. And if you don't see, you're lacking it. Again, not because you're lacking orientation, you're lacking the whole experience. It's a tremendous experience. This rotzing that is expressed in sight is a Rotzain, so to speak, an absolute element of Rotzain. Not Rotzain that is expressing something lacking and that's complementing something lacking, but this experience of sight is significant despite the fact that I can avoid it, that I can be without. And the significance is so profound that I want it.
I don't know if I'm following what the nimshal is, or this seems like...
Okay, let me finish. So this is, again, we can understand if we put our mind to it. There is an element of Rotzain that is not a response of a lack to complement something that's missing.
The whole thing with sight was a mashal for this?
Yeah. I wanted, since sight is effortless, and yet it's a profound experience. Why is it such a great experience? You accomplished nothing. You didn't do anything. You didn't put, so to speak, your finger in cold water to bring it about. Why are you so proud of it?
It's the point there is how strange it is that something effortless would be valuable. What's every breath is...
How are you? No. How are you involved in it? Not the valuable is valuable. It's something that came to you effortlessly.
Yeah.
How do you account for the fact that you were involved in it? You didn't do anything together.
Similar to breathing, in what way are we involved with it?
That's
Similar
right.
to sight, like in what
That's
way is
right.
it us?
Well, that's right. Exactly.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
How are you involved in it? How do you consider it your koyach, even though you have not contributed towards it at all?
Right. It's such a fine gift. It has no weight.
You did not contribute to its success.
And we didn't put it together, right?
And yet, you're proud of it. You consider it a primary koyach, a primary experience. Because sight is what makes us, gives us a divine presence in the world, reveals to us a divine element in the world. It lifts us from the physical to a divine. So we are physical entities. Why do we seek a divine? The divine element is the Rotzain in the nefesh. I want it not because I'm lacking. I want it because this is what makes me of a different quality, different type of entity. A true divine presence, even though I'm a worldly presence. And even though it's not a necessity, and yet there is a profound experience in it. An experience that we cannot have enough of it. This is the will element behind this. How do you define this will element? I want the godly element in the world, the godly experience of the world, not just the worldly experience. Why do you want it? This is part of who I am. Part of the show. I want to be, so to speak, super worldly. Not because I want to be super worldly, because I want to have the truth, the divine truth. Not because I'm lacking anything on the worldly level that I can identify what I'm lacking. So this is a rotzon. I want, not to want from the implication of missing something, but I really seek it. I appreciate it beyond limit. This is called the rotzon. Having hopefully identified the rotzon, we're coming back to what we're learning. That to relate to Malchus Shamayim, Kabbalah say Malchus Shamayim, not Kabbalah's mitzvah, it's nothing in Hechadu that involves me directly. Malchus Shamayim per se. Malchus Shamayim is, Kabbalah say Malchus Shamayim is koyach nela. It's a subsurface kind of koyach. Even though it's a koyach nela, even though it's a koyach that comes to me automatically, effortlessly. But yesh bozeh, there is the need for rotzon. It's not a koyach nelam that bypasses me. I appreciate it phenomenally. To the point where I focus on it. When I notice it, I focus on it. Just like I'm most of sight. I can do away, I can get around without sight, more or so. But when I see something, I pursue it. Not because I need to, but because it's so enticing. The similar thing is this Malchus Shamayim is a koyach nela. And this Malchus Shamayim is in from knowing Malchus Shamayim, the bligvul, the Ein Sof element. And therefore it is something which is known effortlessly. But yesh bozeh rotzon. There is a rotzon. It is something which complements, which gives me a sense of the reality that I cannot bypass it. To the extent that I seek it and I want it. This rotzon, again, is not a response to a lack of my previous stage, that I'm lacking something. This rotzon is something which lifts me above my previous state. Even though I didn't like it, all of a sudden when I identified, oh, that's all I want. Just like in the motion of sight. The world was dark, it was called a complete world. But when light came, I cannot be without it.
Well, there the previous stage seemed to be lacking in a very dramatic way.
You know what?
In that example, the previous stage, namely darkness, seems to lack in quite a serious way.
No, it's not. On the worldly level.
Navigate this room. What?
What? No. Think of it from the worldly perspective.
Are you saying?
World per se is a physical entity.
So on a worldly level, nothing was sort of
nothing
missing.
was lacking. I can get around, find my and identify things by touch and smell and all that. From a worldly perspective, and yet
Still in that example, somebody who's not sighted, we call that handicapped. But really, we're looking to an example where stage one is kind of full and complete, and then there's the next step where it's not.
That's because sight was granted Milmaila. Once God has granted the gift of sight, yes, then it's a handicap. But initially, when it was Choshech up inside, it was Choshech. The world didn't beg for light.
Right, and the real insight of this Ratzon is not to fill any lack, not to overcome any handicap, but rather it's an inspired level.
That's right, a supreme Ratzon.
An inspired, a new level.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
An inspired, a new view that I did not identify before.
Okay.
And this is what Rebbe says. This Kabbalah say Malchus Shamayim, or to know the Baal Rotzin, is be'emes in truth. It's a koyach nela. It is not something that I can identify from my experience and lack it and seek it. Yet, even though it's mikol mokoy, yet still, harei yesh bozer rotzin. There is a rotzin. Once there is such an union, that becomes demanding. I want it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Baruch Hashem.
We're also saying that it's not attained from below. It's
That's
not
right.
reached from below. It's not by virtue of any work or effort.
That's right. That's right. There is no way, after we have already experienced sight, for thousands of years, he cannot fully define what that is.
Right. So this nasa was not. In a way, it was not by virtue of our own merit. It was in itself provided from above. No.
Yes. Koyach nela. Nasa kodem nishma.
Yeah.
The nasa kodem nishma represents not what we are going to do. It represents our profound relationship to the Malchus Shamayim.
Right, but again, it's not really ours. It is His inspiration
Exactly.
through us.
That is His presence that He granted to us.
Okay.
Just like light, that the Rebbe brought light into the world.
Okay.
The world didn't ask for it.
Okay.
Very good. So despite the fact that it came as a keich nala, yesh bozer rotzi. There is a rotzi. A rotzi means a personal rotzi, a world level rotzi. V'hu inyan, which is expressed in the fact of Kabbalah, so your Malchus is berotzi. That berotzi is on the next page. We must mean this. V'hu inyan Kabbalah, so your Malchus is berotzi. The principle of this rotzi is that yes, it's a Kabbalah soil Malchus Shamayim. Kabbalah soil. Kabbalah soil is not something that you experience. You are just an underling, and you have a yoke, and you accept the yoke. But there is a caveat. Yes, it's Kabbalah soil, and I don't know what this is all about. But this Kabbalah soil, I do berotzoy. I want it. I want it. Even though it's only Kabbalah side. So there is a roch in the Mikomo means, despite the fact that it's a koyach nela. The ring hidden internally there is an infant roch, which is the Kabbalah soil machutzin boy. But roch, Kabbalah soil means that you accept the yoke. This is not something that you are formulating. But the ring in this Kabbalah soil there is a roch. Rak except. If this is berotze, so which is it? Is it Kabbalah soil, or Koyach Nela, Kabbalah soil, or is it Rotze? So he says it's both. It is Kabbalah Soy, and it is a Kirchnela. But the reason is what the Rotzen. How is it still a Kirchnela? The answer is, it is Berotzen, Rak, except She'enoi bihis gavos or Rotzen, Mibchinas Yitzia Mehad Dargo.